wept. I made sure that I found a way through a cloud of haze. Every day I wept, found how to live through all them cloudy days. You know the mind's a maze with all its mixtures. It's always hard to get the entire scope of the picture. 1080p, that's you or the busters, yeah, obsolete. Can't fuck with me, excuse my French, but I'm not discreet. I wear my heart on my sleeve, but I've learned my lesson. I've learned 1996 birth, one of the greatest weapons untold. I'm destined to reach heights thought I could never see, but foolish thoughts rampage my heart and let me not reach the peaks that's entrusted to me. My belief shatter off past actions. I grieve, but grievance never really matter. It's how I choose to act differently in the coming battles to overcome my limitations and get out my shadow. But it's hard to wade in this water where it was never shallow. Fuck it, let me get the paddles. Fuck that now, let me get this castle. Fuck that now, let me get this battle.
Nah. Oh, I just found something too. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. We are back in this thing with another episode. Squad Nero. It's your humble host, Sage, Croco, Chef D, and T Smooth, back again with another adventure. As always, please like and subscribe if you're on the YouTube, if you're on the Twitch. Please, follow, subscribe, sub, do whatever you gotta do. The support, everything is greatly appreciated. Let's get this joint started. We got a couple things going. We got a couple concurrent shows and everything like that. We starting off. Should we start off with the? I feel like the Den of Nerds. I feel like that's the one we probably have to start off with. Yeah, since it's so crazy. So if you haven't peeped, as of recently, Marvel has supposedly had a leak, a massive leak at that, in regards to a lot of the cover arts for Doomsday, and it could be some other information as well. So if you do not want to be leaked or potentially ruined of the story going forward, please click off. I'll give you the thumbs up once it's done.
Hold up, where do you come up with these like string of words if you don't want to be leaked? What is it, like you trying to milk somebody? Like leaked? Come on, man.
Only you.
Wait, what we leaking?
Spoiled.
Hey. Yeah, don't want to be spoiled. Leak
Thank
is
you.
crazy.
Welcome back to the Den of Nerds. I am Josh, and we just got the biggest leak in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Probably seen the news. It's real, massive leaks about Doctor Doom, the Secret Wars movie, potential leaks at what Battle World is going to look like, confirmation of comic book stories that are going to be adapted into this story, confirmation of a World War Hulk movie and what that's going to look like. This is mind-blowing. Somebody's getting fired. Probably several people are getting fired. This is insane. So let me break this all down for you. There are spoilers in here, but I think at this point, these leaks are so big, so massive, everybody's going to be talking about it. So I want to break down the leaks. I want to break down what they mean, because that's really the juice. That's really what's important, what this actually mean. Now, I also have to say, I might not even be able to show you the images here. There's copyright things flying around the internet right now. I did a stream earlier today. It was an emergency stream. I went live at 9 in the morning. I went over every single leak in detail, all the different images and what they could mean. Rob from Comics Explained joined me on that stream, and we speculated about all sorts of stuff. It was a great stream. Unless Marvel took it down, you can go watch that after you watch this video for like the full detailed breakdown. Hopefully it's still up. If it is still up, I will link it in the description below. Okay, so what was shown? Why is this such a big deal? Well, first of all, we get our first look at RDJ's Doctor Doom design, and we get a look at what he will look like before he becomes God Emperor. And the design is amazing. I mean, the helmet looks great. It actually closely resembles one of the helmets that's included in a new Hot Toys figure of Doctor Doom. This has a pointier nose. The mask itself is a little bit more angled than the sort of more flat traditional Doctor Doom mask from the comic book. He's got the green cloak. He's got fur. He's sitting on a throne. It looks fucking awesome, dude. He looks swagged out. He looks perfect for Doctor Doom. But that's not all, because we get other images with God Emperor Dr. Doom. And what I mean by that is we see Dr. Doom in a white cloak instead of green. He is sitting on a throne in a throne room filled with a court of people as somebody is brought before him for crimes. This person is on a leash or with restraints or, some kind of handcuffs. And God Emperor Dr. Doom, standing next to his wife and a child, is in front of this court. And then there's Stephen Strange wearing a green cloak. But the thing that's wild about this entire image is that every character is drawn with a Renaissance Game of Thrones high fantasy style of clothing. Now that proves that the Jonathan Hickman 2015 Secret Wars comic, which had the same aesthetic, is the motivation. It's the inspiration for what Dr. Doom is going to do with Battleworld. Now, you might be totally lost. This is some super nerdy conversation. Let me just try to slow down and explain it to you. In the comic books, Dr. Doom created Battleworld after the entire multiverse collapsed. And he went out and he grabbed up everything he could from the multiverse and he smashed it all together and he created Battleworld, saving the multiverse from going out of existence completely. And that was cool. It's a really cool thing for Doom to do. The only problem was he did it Dr. Doom style and he made sure that he was God Emperor, and he must have been binge watching Game of Thrones because he also set up the whole world to have that aesthetic. It was trial by combat, dukes and barons and castles and all sorts of crazy stuff. It was like this high fantasy version of Marvel that I absolutely love. And the current rumors for the Doomsday film are that Dr. Doom's going to come into that movie and he's essentially going to win. And at the end of that film, he will create a new universe or a battle world, just like he did in the comics. But for so long, we wondered, what would that battle world look like? Would it just be a new universe? Is it just the Void from Deadpool and Wolverine and Loki? Well, now we have our answer, and that is this is going to look just like Jonathan Hickman's comic books. This is mind-blowing! That means you're going to get some regular superheroes that survive the collapse of the multiverse that are going to be just in their regular costumes. But you will also have a ton of Marvel superheroes that are in this newly created universe or battle world universe by Dr. Doom, and they're all going to have that aesthetic, that high fantasy, Renaissance, Game of Thrones aesthetic, and I think that is freaking awesome. So that's obviously a big deal, definitely not something that Marvel Studios wanted to get out there, but there's more. We also get a shot of that same aesthetic, right, with the sort of Renaissance vibes, everybody's wearing that high fantasy stuff, and we get a shot of Bruce Banner's Hulk and She-Hulk and Bruce Banner's son Scar, and they all appear to be within the walls of a big castle, seemingly on Battleworld. And the reason that is crazy is because right now we believe you will get Doomsday, and then you will have 2 Battleworld movies, and then you will have Secret Wars. And those 2 Battleworld movies are rumored to be Spider-Man 4 and then World War Hulk. That's a big rumor that's been out there, and we're not 100% sure that it's real. This leak and this concept art really makes it seem like Marvel does have a plan for the Hulk characters to be heavily involved in Secret Wars on Battleworld, and maybe we will get a story told about Battleworld and Doctor Doom via Spider-Man 4 and then the World War Hulk movie, and then we will see all the heroes and the multiversal Avengers try to overthrow Doctor Doom, and we'll get some epic battle like we did in that comic book. So guys, we might actually get a World War Hulk movie on Battleworld with those aesthetics, and Bruce kind of looking like he's the tank of a D&D party, and he's a fighter and stuff like that, and that high fantasy Game of Thrones stuff with the Hulks as they maybe fight against the Maestro Hulk, one of the dukes of the barons, just like in the comic books. Like, this stuff is blowing my mind. And look, another thing that needs to be pointed out here is the stuff with Doctor Strange. Guys, there were a lot of rumors about Doctor Strange being in Secret Wars, being in Doomsday. A lot of insiders said that some of the best scenes in the entire multiversal saga will be between RDJ as Doctor Doom and Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange. And a lot of us thought about the relationship that they had in the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars and the lead up to it, where essentially they're kind of like 2 of the last players in the Game of Worlds. They're both standing there at the end of time fighting the Beyonders. Doom's plan works, and he takes all the powers of the Beyonders, and then together with Stephen Strange, they save the multiverse, and they create Battleworld. But Stephen Strange said no to godhood. He basically in that moment said, no, Victor, you do it. I don't want to become a god. But then on Battle World, Stephen Strange and Doctor Doom are like two of the only people that remember what the real multiverse was like. Everybody else in the universe just remembers what it was like when Doom was God, because that's all they've ever known. Like, they think Doom just created everything. That's what they believe, which is another totally Doctor Doom thing. But essentially, I'm saying, like, those two characters have a really awesome relationship because they both kind of know that there was a different version of the multiverse. And Doctor Strange eventually goes against Doctor Doom. Like, he's by his side. They're like really good friends. They work together to try to rebuild everything. He's the sheriff on Doom World. He's basically like Doctor Doom's right-hand man. But eventually, after it's revealed that there are some heroes remaining from the old version of the multiverse, Doctor Strange ends up helping them in the comic book. It's a massive part of the whole story. It's a super big deal. So seeing Stephen Strange in that green robe, standing beside God Emperor Doom as potentially the sheriff, just like he was in the comic books. Combine that with all the scoopers saying that those two characters are going to have a lot of important scenes together. I'm starting to get real excited about that shit. And there's even stuff in here with the new T'Challa. Again, there's like almost too much to go over here. I talk a lot about this in the stream, and we're going to talk about it on stream on Monday. So be ready for that stream on Monday. But man, for now, I just have to say, biggest leak ever in the history of Marvel Studios. We got to look at Doctor Doom. We now have an idea of God Emperor Doom being a real thing, of them taking the aesthetic of the 2015 Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars comic and using that for Secret Wars, maybe using that for Spider-Man 4 and for World War Hulk. This is insanity. A new T'Challa. Holy shit. So guys, I just want to make this video sort of quickly going over all of the leaks and explaining what it actually means. Please let me know your thoughts here in the comment section. Go watch the stream from earlier and get ready because we're going to be talking about this on Monday's show. Oh my God. By the way, we stream at 11 a.m. Monday through Friday over on a streaming channel. So if there's ever like news or stuff that you don't see me covering here on the main Den of Nerds channel, I'm probably talking about it on the live channel, and it's probably being clipped out of a video on the Den of Nerds Clips channel. But this one's such a big deal, we had to put it on the regular channel just to get the word out. This is massive, man. Please let me know what you think about this. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.
All right, y'all.
We do not exist.
Hey,
Hey, okay, my bad. How are y'all feeling about this? 'Cause me personally, I'm getting a little excited. Jonathan Hickman's, I'm gonna say this until I leave this earth. Jonathan Hickman had one of the greatest renditions of Secret Wars, from the story before it, leading all the way up to how it happens. Best iteration known to comics. And what, the other two other times I believe they had Secret War comics? But how are y'all feeling about these leaks?
So like I said, I'm looking forward to this. My biggest thing with this is that I'm strongly hoping that, not to say they go one for one with the story, but at least give us everything down to the T, like, that's good, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't want this to be a letdown. Y'all bring back RDJ. We getting Fantastic Four. We finally getting mutants soon. I like Doomsday. If he's supposed to be on for what was it, 4 or 5 movies? It looks like.
mm-hmm.
So that means that he's going to be in Fantastic Four, World War Hulk, like they're saying, Spider-Man 4, Doomsday, and Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like at Secret Wars, that's probably when Doom is done. He's going to get defeated.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want them dropping the bag on this one because you already brought back RDJ. Like, you honestly, you didn't need to bring him back, but you trying to throw so much money at someone that y'all really trust that can bring in the money for you guys and put butts in the seats. So they can't miss. So what? Secret Wars drops. We get Doomsday next year, and Secret Wars is 2027. It's the year right after that, right?
Potentially, yeah. I'm guessing if they're keeping in line how they
So
usually
literally,
go.
we're getting 5 movies of RDJ over 2026 and 2027.
It doesn't
Yeah,
even necessarily have to be him all the way in there. They could do
it
some
has
other
to.
shit.
Well, my thing is, they don't have to show him fully in the World War Hulk movie
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Or
Spider
the
Man. But what I'm
Spider-Man
saying
4.
is, he's
Yeah.
going to show up.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
technically
You're gonna
will
feel his
count.
presence.
Yeah. So my thing is, I'm just hoping they do not drop the ball because even if you're showing him for 5 minutes, those 5 minutes need to be impactful.
Yeah,
You
I
just don't want
understand.
to waste them because literally, if those 5 minutes going to count for his one movie, I don't want it's going to be a waste of money.
True.
Oh no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a Marvel
No.
head, like DC man. I'm always a Marvel head, but I'm just hoping they do not put their foot in their mouth. I just want this thing to go. Huh? Did you just say boy or pause?
No, I said, boy, I'm thinking about it because
Yep.
I'm gonna let y'all go ahead. I don't want to go on the rant, but I'm gonna let y'all go ahead. How everybody else feeling on them?
I mean, it's cool to me. Seeing the artwork for Doctor Doom, I thought they were gonna make his mask look like Iron Man's. I mean, granted, it still is concept art. So I don't know what the finished product gonna look like, but as far as his look, it does look good. Doctor Strange's look too. I mean, Doctor Strange always looks pretty cool in the movies and the concept art. I do like there's different things that they pointed out. Like the person that we saw that was chained up was believed to be Human Torch because it looked like it was constant water just dripping over him. So it's like I don't know what part this plays into the story or what they plan on having Doctor Doom doing, but it does look pretty good overall.
Yeah, I agree. I like Doom looks solid. I hope they don't do too many angles where RDJ is kind of where everything is kind of pushed out and you kind of see RDJ with more elements and people involved. Only because he is 5'9" and it's a very, very small Doom. So aesthetically wise, that's the biggest thing that I'm hoping for is that it's not it's something where when they do show him, it's more of a close up, and they do kind of use those camera angles to properly kind of combat the height difference and everything that will more or less just kind of play a part because again, RDJ is 5'9". Outside of that though, I mean, I think everything did look pretty good. On that video that we just saw, shout out to Den and Nerds. But on that video that we saw, they did not include two of the other concept arts, which was one being the one with Black Panther and the other one being the one with Champions or Young Avengers, whatever they will officially be called. I do have a question for y'all as well at the end of this. Black Panther, I do like the Black Panther side. I think I think the reason why they kind of showed that is because that is going to be another world, just kind of like the way that they showed the Hawk. For anybody who could kind of like break it down and maybe like read a little bit more into it, I think that that's what they were kind of trying to signal at the very least, is that, hey, these are two different worlds. We're just giving you a sneak peek on the world for Black Panther. It looks to me, I could be very wrong about this as well. Take this please with a grain of salt, but to me, the Panther in that shot and the setup in that shot made me feel as if it was more or less like a bunker than it was the paradise in the land of Wakanda. Wakanda doesn't ever really present to me an area where it's like barren. I do know that like when like the areas around it are typically more barren just for the simple fact that Wakanda is supposed to be hidden. But the fact that they had like what looked like a giant panther introduction, it I don't know, it's just something about that whole thing to me. It made me think of like, oh, what a Wakandan bunker would look like. So
real quick to piggyback off that, if you remember in the Jonathan Hickman story, he went above and beyond about T'Challa having the powers of the undead and being able to utilize them. That joint low key looked like I guess like a mass grave. It's not usually how we
It
would
could.
see. It's not usually how we see Wakanda. Like usually it's open, it's flourishing,
Right.
but just like how you brought it up, it's desolate. This might
Hmm.
be from Battle World, and now he's the king of Necropolis, just like he is in the Secret Wars comic, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure if that was during Secret Wars, but again, with the MCU, that is a part of Black Panther's story. So it is very possible that even if it isn't a part of Secret Wars, which I'm just not exactly sure on at this moment, that does not mean that it doesn't have to be something that could be utilized in this movie. It very well could be a storyline that kind of goes off of that. And if that were to be the case, is this Black Panther on the side of the Avengers, or would this Black Panther potentially be on the side against Black Panther? I don't know, but it is exciting. That's, you know, trying to speculate. That speculation is exciting for me, at least to think about, because it could give us a completely different spin on the character of T'Challa or T'Chanda, whatever they said it's going to be, aka the Black Panther. I think the same thing with the Hawk sequence. I think that what and I'm really glad that Den and Earz brought it up, because this was kind of like my final conclusion to it. I think that one of the things that they aren't afraid of talking about within the MCU are the different forms of Hulk. I think that this is a perfect opportunity for them to take. It's a little bit wonky in regards to how the comic book is, but that's okay. Again, we know the MCU is like that. But to go from World War Hulk to a Maestro Hulk, and having that be the central Hulk in what would be the Secret Wars portion of this saga, I think that that's solid. I would be really intrigued by that, just for the simple fact that we aren't getting that funny Mark Ruffalo anymore. We will be getting a serious Mark Ruffalo, who will, in on honest ways, if portraying Maestro Hulk, would be somewhat terrifying, like just kind of a scarier version of the Hulk than I think. We haven't had a version of the Hulk like that in the cinematic universe. We've had a terrifying Hulk in the sense of just like a raging Hulk, but we haven't had Maestro Hulk. So that would be really cool to see if that is the angle that they end up going with. I'm gonna stop there. It's a lot more that I could talk about on this, but I don't want to just kind of rant for too long. The question that I do have for you is, and this is in regards to the last concept art that we saw, if Avengers Doomsday were to be centralized around specifically the Young Avengers or Champions, whatever they're going to be called, would you guys be okay with that?
No.
I figured that's what you would say.
Only because
Sage.
from the scene, from the team that they showed us with Kate Bishop,
Mhm.
and it was like, that's not a team that's built to take down Doctor Doom.
I agree, but I think that's their goal.
I think that would be one of the dumbest decisions Marvel. I would try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they can't do that. They paying all these actors all this exorbitant amount of money. You better be using the fuck out of these niggas.
I don't disagree, but what I could kind of see is them trying to set up that this team is too young and inexperienced, and their attempt, just like them trying to highlight the fact that their attempt is an utter failure, and putting more and using that to put more emphasis on the idea of how much of a threat Doctor Doom is. I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past the MCU.
What if they do this? So, if all the leaks that we've taken are at face value are to be true, Fantastic Four, we know that they're going to be coming over into our universe. They're from a different universe. By the end of their movie, they're coming to our universe. From there, if we're getting into the Jonathan Hickman story, the last incursion was between the main Marvel universe and the Ultimates universe. Both of the heroes on those specific Earths decided to fight against one another, because whoever was able to destroy the other Earth before it collided with their own, they would be able to save their own Earth in the process. In that comic, Reed, if I'm not mistaken, builds a ship, and just like Den of Nerds was talking about, there's going to be a specific select few of heroes that are able to survive that still have knowledge of the previous multiverses and the events that transpired before Battle World is formed. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of kids, because I think it was from the Future Foundation, Reed brought a lot of kids from the Future Foundation as well on that ship, if I'm not mistaken. Instead of using the Future Foundation, because you can't, Reed isn't in the universe long enough to even build the Future Foundation. And on top of that, my nigga, Doom is in control. So this nigga's not about to be building that shit. So who's the next best in line? Those little niggas. So now we open up the story to them. Then you have on Battle World, you have the OG Avengers, quote unquote. You have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. You have the Wesley Snipes Blade. You have the, I don't know if Channing Tatum gonna come back. I don't know if they're gonna get him. But you have all the other characters, possibly some of the Fox X-Men coming back. All of these, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. And then you have the little niggas as well fighting alongside them. This gives them the ability for people to be able to get worth. And I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's easier for kids to be able to convey an emotional scene rather than an adult. Because when you look at it from a kid's standpoint, if you coming from their lens, imagine it goes how it is. Imagine the reactions of all these kids once they crash land in Battle World and they whole shit is flipped upside down. You got heroes working for Doom. You got villains working for Doom. If he got a Thor core, holy fucking moly. You got Thanos working for him as well. You got all of these players and everything like that. Nigga, they gonna be against insurmountable odds. And then you got the OG Avengers 2 coming back to help them.
So
you gotta success, I believe.
I do agree with that, and I do think that also makes sense for the Disney / Marvel MCU world. I think that makes a lot of sense. But again, if we take that point that you made, the emphasis that the kids can kind of sometimes shadow and highlight, it just would not surprise me if they made the entire focus in terms of the hero side being with the young Avengers. I know it's not what everybody would want, but I think that, again, going off of what you just said, the emphasis that the kids can kind of bring in regards to the dread of the situation. I think Kevin Feige, and I'm just speculating, but I think Kevin Feige and I think the other heads at Marvel and at Disney saw how much fanfare and how much reaction people had to when Spider-Man and Infinity Wars was like, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. I think that those types of moments are ones that they may try to capitalize on. And I only felt this way a little bit, but again, to see the concept art and this being the concept art that they're showing us, I think the reason why they showed us Black Panthers is because that's something that is shocking, and it is something that people wouldn't have expected given we kind of moved on from the previous T'Challa. I think the Hulk one is shocking because nobody really knew where that was going to go, and it adds more credence to this idea of if they're going to do a World War Hulk movie, for them to give us that concept art now. I just wonder why they give us the concept art of what effectively they've brought up or told us in so many words would be the Young Avengers or Champions team, to have its own concept art at this point. The only other concept art that I saw outside of those three, and the one with Doom, is the Fantastic Four. And again, Fantastic Four, Black Panther, Hulk, and Doom all make sense, right? Because these are all things that are either coming very soon in the future, or that they needed to hype us up about or wanted to hype us up about to get us excited about the movies. Why Champions or Young Avengers when we haven't really had a reason to be excited or well, we had a reason to be for them to be hyped up because we knew that they were coming, but why throw them in there if they not going to be a more important part of, at the very least, Doomsday, which will be the first of those 4 movies?
If they make them too much of an important part, to your point, I don't think it'd be good for them. So I hope they're important enough.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Look, like I said, I don't love it. I just get that feeling like I just get a little worried. That's the only thing about all of this that does kind of shoot a little worry at me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could like take away what you want or how you feel. Could you see Marvel doing it? Is like at the point that I'm at. And that's the thing is I could see Marvel doing that. I don't know whether y'all could see Marvel do it.
I don't think they would focus on them too much with these upcoming movies. Maybe, you know, in Secret Wars, they'll be aged up a bit and they'll be more, you know, throughout TV shows and other movies, their powers could increase or whatever. But having a young Wiccan and Kamala Khan and all these other people, it's like, I get the team, but they're led by Star-Lord and Wong. So it's like, these the niggas that lost to Thanos the first time.
Also,
Uh-huh.
they just released a comic, Marvel that is, that showed what everybody is speculating is Wanda from the, what is it called? Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Supposedly the TVA has her locked up. And then if you peep in her storyline, when she came back to redeem herself, she worked with the kids or the Kid Avengers or a kid version of some superhero team. So it could be Wong and
Children's Crusade.
Star-Lord. Yeah, Children's Crusade. And then you could sprinkle in a little bit of Wanda too. And then boom, with her kids on top of that as well. And then also, if y'all peep, they've been given trinkets of information about these young niggas for quite some time. Gave them their own series, if not super supporting roles in the series that they were in. So it's not like they have to use a lot of time to build up who these characters are. Everybody should know who these characters are, which leads me to believe they won't be a super integral role in the movie, but integral enough where you know their presence is felt. It's not going to be felt as
I hope
heavy
you're
as
right.
Doctor Strange or possibly a Reed Richards if we get the Council of Reeds and all of that jazz, or fucking the Hulk even, or Spider-Man. It's not going to be as pivotal as that. I hope not. If it's not as pivotal as those, then they good.
I hope you're right, because I would prefer for it to be like that as well. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I just don't care enough about none of those characters.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing for me. Maybe that's selfish, maybe whatever, but I just don't care about Wiccan and his brother, and I just don't care about any of them. But
I think Marvel knows that too. Like, they're not going to be like, because that's why everybody was so invested in Infinity War. These were people that we had since 2012, and granted that was 2019. They're not just going to pull somebody from a TV show and be like, "Yo, Wiccan, go with Star-Lord and Wong and Cassie Lang and Kate Bishop." It's like, yo, like, the team that y'all have constructed in this concept art would have trouble with some bank robbers.
yeah, it's not convincing. I agree. It's not, and that's why I said I'm on y'all side. I just kind of am nervous because it just does feel like something that Marvel could go down. That's the only thing that's kind of had me worried. But Sage, the last thing I was gonna say to that point that you made, where is if they were to use them more as fillers in a way for what they're trying to convey in the story, I do also think that that would be more appropriate, because this team that Sam Wilson is supposed to be developing, this true Avengers team, when are we going to see them come to be a team? Is it going to be after battle? It just makes no sense to me if it's after Battle World. I feel like throughout the entire process, we need to see how these players in this larger conflict come together.
I think before.
Because who was
Yeah,
recruiting though?
I think the
I don't
first
know.
half, if they're the first half of the movie, or not even the first half, probably you don't even have to take that long. First quarter of the movie, because technically all of these niggas have already still been in contact. Shang-Chi and Wong and all of them have already still been in contact. As long as Captain
Forgot about
America,
that nigga.
as long as Captain America combines a thread between one of them niggas, then he has
It should be
communication to
good.
all of them niggas. And then
Right.
all they have to do is just get back in contact with Spider-Man, which I'm pretty sure they will get in contact with him, bring him back into the fold, let him know what the fuck is going on. Hey, we gotta face these other heroes off this planet or else we're fucking doomed. And Reed will come notifying them of that. And if it's one nigga who's gonna be able to access all of these niggas when he needs to, it's Reed motherfucking Richards. Especially if the rumors is what is true about that movie and his world is destroyed and then he becomes aware of the coming threat. It's no way that they can't write this nigga figuring out that it's an incursion coming. It's no way.
Did y'all see the theory?
No.
My
Huh?
bad. It was the theory for Fantastic Four was that they're on that world because they were trapped when they went into space or some shit. And they've been trying to get back to this one. That's why it's like everything's like futuristic. And then it's like they figure out, like Reed, when you saw him on the chalkboard, he's trying to figure out a way to get them back to the main Marvel universe. I mean, that was just one of the theories. It was cool, but I think getting the team together, like Robert is saying, like it's gonna have to be Reed Richards. Because we don't have no other genius. Well, we do in theory,
Yeah.
but we don't have.
But
that.
we don't know what is going to be the deal with that. At least with Fantastic Four, we have more like traction and movement. So it's like,
And
Reed Richards makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having Reed be the one to figure out the multiverse shit and then be like, yo, like this is what's going on. It makes the most sense because I do not want some bullshit where they're like somebody that ain't got no business talking about science figuring something out.
This figure is the one that figures it out. Yo, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. That go back to like my nightmare scenario. I don't want to call it my nightmare scenario because it's 4 movies. If the one pleasant surprise, which I didn't really know, but I kind of knew was a thing. The idea that we're supposed to have Spider-Man and World War Hulk, that it really alleviates a lot of worry for me because it's like, yo, if it's 4 movies, you know, between 2 and 3 plus hours, I think that should be able to explain a lot, you know. So I'm not I don't want to say nightmare scenario and like make it sound like I'm really dreading it, but I'm still going to use that word because I don't have a better word to use. In my nightmare scenario, that's what I honestly thought would happen. OD is I thought that Wiccan being able to have the same powers as his mother, if she's on the same world as Doom, that's what would eventually get them to that place if they go the route of the Young Avengers being the Avengers team in Avengers Doomsday. Again, it's not what I want, but that's exactly what you just said. You don't want somebody who's not science-based, who can't figure it out, playing that role. That's what I'm worried will happen. Overall, though, it was a lot.
It was.
It was, especially the Black Panther. I mean, but like to your point, real quick, Niall. I hope Duke is not the first nigga we see from.
Oh my gosh, I really hope not.
Now I get he's extraterrestrial or some shit like that or something in the lab, but it's like, bro, your first X-Men for real. If they want to be, if they could be real smart about this. Their first X-Men could be Magic, because she can open portals to anywhere in the multiverse. It's like if you have her, and it's like, yo, she can go between Ultimate Marvel Universe, Marvel this universe. Like, you want somebody that can travel these different dimensions as they party. Also on some America Chavez shit, but it's like.
I was just about to say you could have a meetup with, you could have Magic be across to America Chavez.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you do not want to have a fucking blob walk around as your first official X-Men in the MCU.
I pray I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. Because I just don't want to sit through no 3-hour movie with that. Like, none of us want to.
I think we all can agree from the leaks, cool, the Hulk Village, whatever.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be fucking She-Hulk and Mark Ruffalo and a whole bunch of Shrek niggas walking around. It's like it's a Hulk village. Like, come on. And then it's like the only
Yeah.
bad thing about these leaks is that team they constructed with the Young Avengers. It's like that's just the concept because you still realize Thor is training Gore's daughter, so she got to
Mm-hmm.
be on the team or some shit. Like Thor could be like, my daughter could join a team. You got to figure in Scar. He damn near probably got to be on the team as Hulk's son. You
That's what
factor
I
in
was
all this
thinking
other
too.
shit, and it's like, cool, y'all got a team, but it's like your concept are having some random ass X-Men and having kids. It's like, no. And then like Kamala Khan, like these cool characters, but just as a team, they just don't work. It's just nobody cares about them as a collective.
No, I agree. Hopefully, it goes more so the way that Sage said. We have enough anchors, knowing that Wong has the connections he does. We have enough people that have anchors, and they are just used to get us from one anchor point to the next. And it doesn't do anything else beyond that. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. You just get them. They're there, but
Yeah.
they're not the focus.
I did wish Tom Holland Spider-Man had like a solo movie that wasn't like on some extraterrestrial shit before this.
Yeah,
happened.
street. Well, that's what they originally remember. They said they originally were gonna do a street level Spider-Man, but because of everything, excuse me, because of everything that's been happening with that larger MCU universe, they couldn't really stick with that. So that's what I'm kind of hoping is that after all of this is done, we do eventually get that Spider-Man street level movie. And I think that there is a possibility of that because I do think Kingpin would be a great villain in Spider-Man. So you set him up in Daredevil, you get more people familiar to him that maybe aren't familiar to him from the Netflix series. And then you bring him in as a Spider-Man villain, especially as Tom Holland is supposed to kind of be aging up. Question for y'all too: these Marvel movies don't count as Spider-Man's or Tom Holland's contract movies, right? It's
Yeah,
for
they do.
Spider-Man solo, right? No, they do.
Nah, they encapsulate solo and team up
Yeah.
movies as well
Oh,
in the deal.
bro,
So
how many
I
do
don't
we
even
have?
know.
I believe it was like another three solo and then two team up movies.
Another
So
3 solo?
yeah, so
Well, that would be okay
going
because
up to Spider-Man 6.
that'll go into the
I'm
next
mistaken.
phase.
Yeah.
That'll
Oh.
go into the next phase, so that's
That
okay.
would make sense because if you get
Yeah.
Spider-Man 6, you got to do fucking Doom World, well not Doom World, but whatever this is. Then he get his own movie there, and then from
Mhm.
there he get a symbiote, and then from there from his symbiote from his regular
Symbiote
movie,
Kingpin.
yeah, Ooh, yeah, his regular street level movie, and then after that street level movie, he get
Yep.
his symbiote, and then from that symbiote,
No,
you
no, no,
bring
no,
in
no,
Miles
no.
Morales.
I think the symbiote come before.
They get a symbiote to him in Secret Wars.
Oh, it come in Secret Wars.
That's what
Mhm.
happened in the comics back in the day. He got it from a Fantastic Four lab, if I'm not mistaken, in the comics. So Fantastic Four could come here to this new universe. They just so happen to see that black goo that was left there from fucking Venom, that god awful fucking movie. And then fucking Doomsday happens Doomsday happens.
And he has to
Reed
fight with
got
the
everybody
symbiote.
there, and then niggas is fighting there. But then the shit get loose and get up on this nigga, and now he's having a power trip in the midst of these niggas trying to save everybody. Comes back, and then he gotta fight Kingpin in his solo movie.
Yo, if they do
the
some
black
shit where he got the black suit on and Doctor Doom mask come off and Tony Stark,
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. face is not messed up and he could recognize him, he might just be on some demon shit. His face better
Yeah,
be just-
that's that I really like what you
No,
just
but that's what
described is
happened in-
exactly a scene I could see.
That's what happened in Doomsday though. Like he got the powers and it fixed himself, if I'm not mistaken.
You know what I'm saying?
Or
Like
you
with the
saying before- or
MCU,
you
if they
saying
like,
before he wins.
because they gonna have to have that be like a driving story, like
Yeah.
not a
Right.
variant, but the fact that Doom looks like Iron Man and Tom
Yep.
Holland got this shit on, and mind you, he ain't got nobody. So the fact that
Mhm.
nobody know who he is, he just got abducted into a new world. People know Spider-Man, but now it's like my mentor who died. Somehow
Is this
nigga on the
villain.
earth looks at him. I'm full of rage. Daredevil gonna have to talk that nigga down. Might end up biting the dust. Who knows? Then
Yeah.
you got to
They're
bring in
not. They're
Miles.
not. They're not gonna kill off Daredevil.
They're not gonna kill him off, but I mean, he's not gonna fight Spider-Man with no black suit on.
But it could be where
Is
that
there,
is
there
a
a
catalyst.
possibility we can get that black Spider-Man suit scene? Well, from the comics where he beats down Kingpin in jail. Is it possible we can get that?
That might be his
Damn,
solo.
Kingpin
That's what I'm
getting
thinking.
beat in jail. That's a fact.
If it carries, that's the thing though. That's if the black suit carries on beyond
It's
Secret
gonna
the
happen.
street level. Yeah, exactly. So
Black suit can't just be one movie.
Yeah,
I think it
can't.
carries on.
I don't think
it
it'll be
carries
one
on
movie.
after Secret Wars.
So you think that the movie, whatever they conclude with Doom, you think that the rage that Spider-Man will have at the end of that movie would be the same going into whatever the street level movie of Spider-Man would be?
No,
Not the
I
same
think
rage, but yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I think because it'll still be fairly new. We seen that as he had the symbiote, it was a gradual process. It wasn't just an immediate like snappy and snippy with niggas. It took some
Okay.
time in the comics, at least. In the
Yeah.
movies, Tobey Maguire, it took a lot quicker, obviously, because it's a fucking movie. But comic books, it took a little bit of time. So I think they'll utilize this shit and see it, and it'll fool everybody, just like it did in the comics. Oh, this symbiote is nice, but then you have Reed like, I don't know, it's still like some iffy shit that I
You
don't
need to
know
shed
about.
yourself for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody is still like, hey, it seems pretty cool, and you get little glimpses of it in Secret Wars. That's like little Easter eggs towards it, but it's nothing never where he never gets close to crossing that fucking line. And
Well,
then
and
you-
then
The best thing for them to do is not like have a personality change. Like we've seen that before in the movies and in the video games. Like, oh, Spider-Man is being more aggressive in his tone, the way he's talking. Like, I would feel like with the symbiote in the movies, a better way to do that would be through his power and his actions. Show,
I
like,
agree. I was just about to
show-
say that.
You show
Yep.
Spider-Man, show him swinging, making jokes and all of that. With the symbiote, show him talking with the symbiote, but show him his punches just doing a little bit too much damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's going to
Be
be
like,
needed
oh.
in Secret Wars. They need another character like that. That's why I completely agree with that. And on top of that, another point, very obvious point, but it is a point to make. Y'all got to be right, because Spider-Man, if we going off Venom in the MCU, Spider-Man can't shed it in this battle world. He would have to shed it in the next street level movie, so that way there's a way for Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock just a guy right now.
Yep.
Whoever he is in this universe, right? He just a guy. He just a regular guy right now. So he not going to be anywhere near all of the things that's going to be happening in battle world. So we would need for Spider-Man to go into the street level movie. And to Dee's point, don't make the focus in the movie about the emotional back and forth. Just make it where they showcase the powers. Then in the street level, let that part be where Spider-Man is like, this suit, this Venom thing is messing with my mind.
yeah,
I can't.
Right, because in the movie, when the Tobey Maguire joint, Venom wasn't talking to that nigga the way Venom was talking to Eddie Brock in these Venom
No.
movies.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No.
Is that some new shit? I don't even remember that in the comics when you got that shit in your head.
It happens in the comics now.
yeah.
I don't know how much it happened in the comics, like when they were first introducing Venom
It
and
wasn't
everything
really,
that went with that.
Because
it
remember
wasn't
in the
really like-
Spider-Man animated show, they didn't do that either, and Spider-Man could like change his appearance. That was a big thing too. Like Venom, with a black suit, he could put on like a tuxedo, his street clothes. Like
Mhm.
black suit could morph into what he needed. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't like what they did with Venom. Like they didn't let him do that, but like they showed that with Spider-Man. I hope. Oh shit! God forbid. I hope Tom Hardy Venom. They need a new Venom. I hope that's not the one Tom Holland did, because I'm
I
not
don't
trying to
think
hear
so.
that bullshit throughout the movie.
Oh, that's a good point. Is it the same?
I don't believe so.
It's the same strand, though.
I clicked
I
on
hope it's a strand Reed Richards bring. I hope Reed Richards finds. I hope it's just in the lab. Reed Richards got this jump around, and Tom Holland get too close to it and just get on him, and it bond with him, because I do not want Tom Hardy Venom touching this nigga.
But
Yeah, I don't want the talkative Venom for the, especially at least before we get to Eddie, at least I don't really want the talk of the Venom. If they want to do that with Eddie, I wouldn't be upset at that, depending on how they like work the dialogue out. But if it's coming from the MCU, yeah, I don't think I would mind it with Eddie, and if it's an MCU script, because I think they could do a better job with the dialogue between Venom and Eddie at that point. But I do agree with Spider-Man. I don't want that. I want for Spider-Man it to just be, like D said, in Secret Wars, a showcasing of the Venom's abilities, and I want it to be more like the Tobey Maguire Venom movie, where it's kind of like he having the changes, but you don't necessarily hear the thoughts and everything. Maybe Tom Holland's Spider-Man isn't as bonded, and that's something that happens with Eddie and Venom when the bond becomes stronger, which we know it is stronger between those two than it is with Spider-Man and the Venom symbiote. But I think that should be avoided.
So I got a question in regards to like y'all don't want Venom's voice being the same with like Eddie Brock and everything, but what if the Venom is different? Just like how Carnage came about, that was a different version of Venom. Technically, it went with whatever the host was when Cassidy bit Ed Hardy to get not Ed Hardy, Tom Hardy. When he bit him to get the symbiote, he ended up getting the symbiote in him. It was a different version of Venom. So what if this same Venom, but different outcome because let's say Spider-Man's a different type of host compared to Eddie Brock. You know what I mean? So it can.
I hear you.
So it not to get the voice, we could still get the same Tobey Maguire, but it's not that Eddie Brock Venom talking. It's Tom Holland talking to himself, but in a deeper, darker sense. Like it's his dark
kind of tone.
Yes.
It's kind of like a worm in his head talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
I don't hate that.
They've been, or recently in the comics, that's what I think Venom, because at some point in time, Venom comics just weren't doing well. They weren't able to maximize on the potential of the character until they actually gave the symbiote a mind of its own dialogue and then expanded upon the actual symbiote's backstory and lineage and everything like that. That's when Venom started to come back. And it wasn't, I guess the conversations were bleak at first, obviously, because the nigga was just a rampaging monster. But then at some point in time, it got cordial enough where Venom, he still was dark. He still had dark undertones, but it wasn't none of this funny shit. It was dark jokes, pretty much. But like dark jokes type of thing. But also, in the comics, the Spider-Man, he got that fucking black suit after the Beyonder brought the heroes and villains of Earth to Battle World to fight each other. So when he's on Battle World, this is the very first instance he gets the symbiote. He tries to get his suit repaired after fighting in a battle. Thor and Hulk point him to a machine, and they say, just think about this shit, and they'll fix it. The symbiote was in a machine. Spider-Man turned on the wrong machine. The symbiote came on his body and then fixed his suit. Boom. And then he came back on Earth after Secret Wars, and he was in multiple different comic runs with that suit, like The Last Hunt. I believe it was something else, Symbiote Spider, Alien Reality, some other shit with Black Cat and Silvermane and fucking Kingpin and Puma, all of these characters. So he does don that suit for quite some time. So I think if they're smart, they're going to use that approach and then have him take that shit off in the Kingpin fight. Because after whatever happens in Daredevil, I'm guessing this nigga's going to be pissed.
If it goes back, well, that's all the question. If Secret Wars doesn't do a reset, if Secret Wars does a reset, then is Kingpin even gonna be the mayor? Does the ramifications of everything kind of still play the part that it does? My theory, now I got a theory in regards to that too. There's no reason why in the battle world, one of the worlds can't be the main MCU, and you could possibly elevate the role of somebody like Kingpin from that angle. and then that happens to carry over somehow, some way. That happens to carry over into the, when we are in the next phase. Maybe something like that could happen. But again, it's a big what if, because we just don't know exactly what they're going to do with the ending of Secret Wars. Is it going to be a giant universe reset, or is it going to be something where what we have seen, we still can like work from, we still can make stories from, it's still part of the greater continuity?
I think it'll be a mixture of both. The good shit, keep it how it is. It's working for a reason.
Okay.
The bad shit, rework that motherfucker. You have a free button, a free movie to do that shit, to make it exactly how you want. Right all the wrongs that you made in the past. This is your movie, and keep the good shit, keep going, and then multiply upon it. That's the smart way to go. Because if they rebooting everything, that'd be the dumbest decision. Because you already got niggas entrenched with these characters that you already released already.
True.
Wait, if they bring shit back, they're not gonna bring in the Fox X-Men. I don't think.
No. So that's some of the shit, because they've obviously said that they're gonna reboot that. So they're rebooting that. They're gonna probably be rebooting. I was gonna say Luke Cage. They'll probably bring back that nigga.
Yeah, they already stated that they're bringing him and Jessica Jones back.
Yeah. But they'll probably
They're not doing it where
changes.
they're not doing it where they're by themselves. It'd be like on a Defenders type level.
Yeah, a lead up to that, right?
They'll probably do some changes to make it go into the, because if we're assuming that the X-Men is going to be the next couple phases and that's going to be the focus, I'm assuming there's going to be a X-Men versus Eternals or Avengers and X-Men versus Eternals. Because if we're keeping up with the continuity, the Eternals right now are facing Judgment. It would be the funniest yet ironic shit if the Celestials tell these niggas, we won't vaporize you niggas as long as you kill these motherfuckers who have this mutant gene on this Earth right now.
Send us right in the AXE.
And there you got a perfect web now. Now you don't got to do too much. You just got to focus on the specific storylines of these movies. Put in that little interconnective webbing, and then boom, you got Avengers versus X-Men versus Eternals, which is.
So I got a question. This is one thing that's been bugging me. We had the animated Spider-Man movie, and they showed us everything was wrapped around the Spider-Verse. How does that intertwine with the multiverse?
It's the same concept.
But
well, here's the thing, though, is with them halting.
Does the Spider-Verse, is that intertwined with the multiverse? Is it its own thing?
It still has concepts. If you think about it still has concepts from the multiverse. The multiverse has
like the Speed Force in DC.
Yeah.
No, I get that though. But my thing is this: when they're talking about the multiverse in the MCU, Tom Holland's still a part of the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales, a part of the Spider-Verse. How do y'all think Kevin Feige is going to intertwine those? Because it's going to come to a point.
I don't know.
He's probably not.
But then that it just gets left by the
He doesn't have
wayside.
to.
But it gets
Is
left
that
by
the fault? Do they talk about that in the Spider-Man movie too?
Why would he try that? I mean, I
don't think it's necessary.
They are technically already intertwined because you already seen a Childish Gambino in one of the jail cells in the animated movie, so they're technically already intertwined.
No, but
it's just that Tom Holland, you don't have to have, just like how they had all those Spider-Men. There's still probably millions of Spider-Men that's not even there.
So does Tom Holland make an appearance? So for this next Spider-Verse movie, whenever it comes out.
If it comes out.
Do you have an animated version of Tom Holland make an appearance at that point? Or
why you gotta be animated though?
Yeah, I say fuck no.
Because if he's animated, what was the point of having Donald Glover in there as a live action?
I get that. Either have him animated or have him show up in some facet, but it's kind of hard to do the animated live action thing and make it look very clean.
They can just keep them shit separate, can't they?
Yeah, they can.
No,
I'd say that's the
but
best
my
bet.
thing- well, they're not going to be able to keep it separate because are we getting this Miles Morales or is it going to be a different Miles Morales that we get in the MCU?
They're
can
not
do
about
it
to bring that
different.
cartoon nigga to life.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
a different
They
one.
could
gonna
Yeah,
be
do
a
it.
different-
it's
They
gonna
could
have to
do
be a
it.
third. They can't do the voice actor.
Nah.
That thing is already in some
No.
people right
They
now.
can find,
Do
they
that
can
until
find
this-
somebody that sounds close to him because it's like this. When you're watching certain movies like Cool World,
They could sound
when
different.
you watch movies like Monkey Bone, when they're bringing these animated characters over to the real world, their voice is different. It's not similar to it, but it has the same cadence as their cartoon
Counterpart.
counterpart. So, like in Cool World, when one of the animated characters came to real life, they still sounded the same, but they looked a little bit different. So I'm just saying, it's possible for them to do that.
That would be kind of corny though, having a cartoon nigga come to life to be part of the MCU. They could just cast somebody in the MCU that's already there.
But
Technically, Miles is already there too in that universe. In Tom Holland's universe, they already.
They
talking-
could use these movies to solve that too. I don't know if that's exactly what will happen, but like even without having to necessarily go into the cartoon, it could be one of the universes. It just could be one of the universes that you see. You don't see anything that has anything to do with the cartoon side of it, but you just see the live action side of it, and they cast for these different characters. You get a Spider-Gwen, you get a Miles Morales, you get like those characters, maybe even a Miguel, whatever his last name is. You could have them be even in a cameo kind of setup. You could have them in this phase of movies. It's just a question of whether that would actually be an objective of Kevin Feige's and an objective of Marvel's for this phase of in the movies. I would put my money on that it isn't.
But like,
And
like look at that. That's hella weird though. Like to bring
Just
in a
having them
cartoon-
there.
having animated Miles Morales coming to the because then what am I before this? Like if I came to this universe, what was I? Like what was it? What does this feel like? You have to feel different as an animated nigga to be
It
able to
wanted
do
they just for them it would have been perceived as animation, or it wouldn't have been perceived as animation. So when you bring them into the real world, that's how they would exist in what our eyes can see. But in regards to the animation side of it, they didn't.
Okay.
Life wasn't perceived that way. So they
Yeah,
could do it. They could do it like that. It's just like again, my thing is do you really? It's already so much to tackle in these movies that
It's
I
enough
just
of the
don't
connection
feel.
there.
Yeah, like I just don't feel like they gonna have a room to do anything like that just because it's so much to already tackle. If anything, there has to be a conversation between Sony and Marvel as to whether they're gonna have the Spider-Verse in the MCU. And I don't know. I don't think that conversation happens now. I think that
Sony got the
conversation
Spider-Verse?
happens. Yeah,
They're not
I
getting
think that. And that's the thing. Like that is so much of a fight in and of itself. A lot of the stuff that you could a lot of the things that you're saying in regards to this, Marvel and Sony could possibly work through it and then start to talk more about these things. But there's so much, and I'm like, I don't want to say animosity, but so much division between the two that Marvel is probably looking at it as we got to count the eggs that we already have in our basket, and we better off just not even talking about or bringing this up. And then maybe we could have these conversations again in the next phase, which is tricky because I don't even know if how long are we going to have Tom Holland? If he says he's done, he might be, he'd be at max, he'd be 2 movies into the next phase if he says he's done. So maybe that conversation comes after Tom Holland says, I'm done. And they got to figure out, okay, how are we going to do Spider-Man and all of these different things in the MCU? And then that could bring about, okay, maybe we need to bring the Spider-Verse into the MCU. But right now, especially with how Sony is, I could see Marvel being like, bro, we don't want nothing to do with your mess. Your pure mess. We don't want to be anywhere near it.
For a fact.
It's a lot. It's a lot though and that's why I'm glad. Like I love that our brains is like this because it's a lot. Like even with us speculating, even if we speculate wrong, it's still so much to just speculate about, and it's really we don't have anything. This is not like the phases before. We really, when you really think about it, we don't have much. The main villain we have not seen once yet. The movie that's supposed to excuse me. The Avengers level movie is supposed to come out next year, and we have not seen the main villain once. So it's like there's like everything really is up. Like we in the dark really right now. It's exciting in certain aspects, but I do think that that's the best reality that we could have, or realization that we can have at this point, is that ultimately we in dark. We have clues, but we don't got the whole puzzle yet. We don't even have half the puzzle, a quarter of the puzzle, maybe a quarter, but I don't even think that. All exciting.
That's true. Yo, one thing I want to point out about the Black Spider-Man suit. Remember in the Tobey Maguire movie, when he first got the suit, he was able to pull the mask off relatively easy when he first got it. If they adopt that, because during the end, like the middle of that movie, when the suit started really bonding to him, he couldn't even peel it off. So if they do that with Tom Holland, shit, like, yo, while you on Battle War, you can take the suit off, do whatever. But once you start getting back to your world, whatever, like let's say you got that fight with Kingpin, he can't take that suit off. Like that's when Tobey Maguire had to bang his head on that bell in order to get it off. I don't know if they go adopt that same thing, but I mean, that's probably gonna be the best thing they got going for them after Doomsday, just building up on that Black Spider-Man suit. My fault.
No, you good.
No, you fine.
I think
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, how the comics is moving, I think they might just follow the comic format at this point, Tom. To be honest with you, because it falls a line. I guess it makes it easier for them to be able to create some good Spider-Man storylines. Plus, I guess they got a couple different characters they haven't really tapped into yet. That they could tap into, potentially setting up like a Carnage with the symbiotes and everything like that. That'd be dope. But I feel like we talked enough about Marvel. I was going to ask the question about the Blade director. We're not even going to do that.
Yeah, we could talk about that next week.
Dragon Ball Daima. I think that was the next one that was kind of like a controversial one. If you don't know, spoiler alert again. Oh, my bad. I forgot to do the thumbs up. Spoiler alert again for Dragon Ball Daima. If you have not watched it, we are going to be talking about the entire series and what transpired, or at least the last episode, or at least the main factor. So the last thing that happened is Goku has
hold on, Cole Red, shout out for joining. He came right in as soon as we start talking about this.
I gave you a week to catch up on this, brother. A week. I don't know how many hundreds of hours that. Come on, is it hundreds of hours? I feel like it is around there, something like that. But come on, man.
I was watching when you was talking about Doom.
What episode? What episode you at? What episode you at? Spoilers.
Well,
okay. Damn, man. I had the whole picture and everything. I'll be back in 10. All right, bet.
All right. We got 10
Spoiler alert.
minutes.
I gave y'all more than enough time. All right. Goku reaches his Super Saiyan 4 form within this universe. And I'm actually
it's a giant step.
I'm about to send you this joint in the Discord chat real quick. This is what I was talking about before the podcast. But it's a hot topic not because he reached the Super Saiyan 4.
Picture of SSJ4.
No. It's a specific picture that I just sent you. it's now canon to the whole entire universe. And Goku explained to Vegeta that he always, or this is what he was training up to attaining. And this fight with, I can't remember the nigga's name, helped him attain it. A lot of people were assuming that it was because Neva gave him the magical power. But from Goku's own words, it wasn't because of Neva. It was always Goku. And if you pull that picture up that I sent you
Where'd you send it at?
in the Discord chat, this was, I don't know if it was in the anime or the movie. I can't remember, but it was Battle of the Gods. It was that storyline. And it was when Beerus had the dream about the Super Saiyan God. Now, this is what I was talking about. So, it looks like from both of these, if we looking at it, dude on the left looks like Goku, dude on the right looks like Vegeta. If they're somehow able to unify their Super Saiyan 4 forms with their respective God forms, then I think this will be the dream in which Beerus envisioned and that he was telling Whis. It says it earlier about the dialogue that they had at that point in time and everything like that, but and I'm guessing when exactly it happened. But I watched that joint and I was like, they didn't do that just for no specific reason. If this is what he envisioned, we obviously know Goku and Vegeta is the two niggas to attain it. And I just think, I don't know how they're going to say that they didn't use it this whole time. But I'm kind of interested to see how they try and weave this all together. I'm not going to lie.
And we were kind of talking about this before we started recording. So the way that like Ultra Instinct is more or less like like you said, it's like Goku is trying to understand his true essence as a Saiyan, which I remember that was kind of brought during when him and Whis were training. Mm-hmm. If that, all right, like, so let's say like once he hits, because this is the only theory that I can kind of work with, and I think you were kind of hitting on this before. If Goku in Ultra Instinct is almost like a base, and then the levels that he attains after that, like we know, like God, Super Saiyan Red and Super Saiyan God, like they're still a part of the natural Super Saiyan form, right? But then when we get the Ultra Instinct, things start to go a little bit differently. But it has its own kind of like, which we've already kind of started to see. It has its own Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. It has that same kind of evolution, just in the Ultra Instinct form. Mm-hmm. Maybe that could potentially be how we would get the Super Saiyan 4, because we'll see, like we've already, if technically you could kind of say with Ultra Instinct, we've seen Super Saiyan 1 and 2. Him achieving Ultra Instinct would have been Super Saiyan 1, and then the perfected Ultra Instinct would have been like Super Saiyan 2.
Hold on. Y'all know Dragon Ball Heroes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The same creator of Dragon Ball Heroes is the same person that's picking up the reins from Toriyama.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in Dragon Ball Heroes, if I'm looking at this correctly, they already have a Super Saiyan 4 Ultra Instinct form already created.
Yeah, so okay.
White fur, white tail, all of that.
That's where I was going. Which, funny enough about that specific form, if I'm not mistaken, I think Akira Toriyama said that the like final level for Goku would be something along those lines, where it would trace back to his original roots and it would be a white form. I remember hearing that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is the end game, is a Super Saiyan 4 Ultra Instinct. And right now we've only got to the level of Super Saiyan 2, which isn't enough to be Black Frieza. And for Vegeta, remember, Vegeta is always kind of like a step behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Vegeta, it's Ultra Ego, but he's just at 1 of Ultra Ego, whereas Goku is at 2 of Ultra Instinct. So soon if the theory is right, Vegeta should have a perfected Ultra Ego. Then they both be at the same level. Then Goku would get super like level 3 Ultra Instinct, while Vegeta is still on perfected Ego.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will go to, you get what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
technically it's doing that. Technically it is following the same way that it always has for Goku and Vegeta under a new transformation.
Mm-hmm. At
So
this
maybe
point-
that's where it comes back up.
And at the end, I feel like they're gonna do something where they finally fight each other to a standstill once they get the power ups. Because I believe since Vegeta, he made it imperative to show Vegeta has reached Super Saiyan 3 within this damn series. So
And the thing is, they always tease that that's going to end up being the final fight. I don't think that they necessarily would like show one of them like destroying the other.
Mhm.
But I do think that, like, think about Super. Like, Super more or less where it left off in the anime portion, at least. I'm pretty confident it ended in that training with both Vegeta and Goku fighting against each other.
Mhm.
So that could be what the final arc is, or semi arc. Like, it could be you know how Dragon Ball Z would do that, and a lot of other animes do that, where they'll have a semi arc at the end, right? Like Hunter x Hunter's or Hunter x Hunter's last arc was technically a full arc. The last full arc, technically, you could say would have been the Chimera Ant arc, but it's not the last arc, right? They still had another arc after it, but it's like it's not the same as the arcs that came before it. In terms of length and in terms of feel, it's not the same. Dragon Ball kind of does that as well. So yeah, the last semi arc, like the last arc, like that arc that comes after when Gon meets his father and Hunter x Hunter. That last arc for that, the version of that could possibly be what could be what happens with the Goku Vegeta fight for, I guess, Super. I guess this will all be Super. Super will be it. Like after Super is totally done.
I feel like, yeah.
And that at that point, is it Super? Is it level 4 Ultra Instinct versus level 4 Ultra Ego?
Ooh. Anime Balls Deep also already made a made a YouTube kind of verifying what we've been insinuating or assuming what might transpire later on down the line. So if y'all ever interested in that, Anime Balls Deep, they have some great videos.
Yeah, send that to me. I love the theories that come from that channel.
I got you. How about y'all? I don't think we really got y'all comments on that.
Well, with everything that's going on, because we spoke on this earlier, I like how Daima ended, or is going to end. With everything that transpired, we got Super Saiyan 4 Goku is canon now. But yes, I get it. He trained for Super Saiyan 4, but at the same time, he needs that tail to go Super Saiyan 4. So that goes back to my earlier spiel when I was talking to you guys about it, where he was given that power boost and that tail to be able to go Super Saiyan 4. So that's where they can use that to say, hey, like people are going to ask the question, why can't they go Super Saiyan 4 at the start of Super? That's their way of keeping everything kind of like in place without retconning anything. Which later on we could get him going Super Saiyan 4 along with Ultra Instinct. Yes, possibility down the line. but we have 138 episodes where he could have went, but it's showing he needs that tail. Even in
But that,
GT, he needed the tail to go
but
Super Saiyan
Mhm.
4.
real quick though, when they got wished back to adults, he didn't have the tail. And then he went from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3. And then he said, I got one more. And then went Super Saiyan 4. And then he manifested the tail. So they can't use that when he, in turn, after he got wished as an adult.
But does he?
They
still
could go to
have
3
that-
route. They could go to 3 route too. Remember 3 back in the day, 3 used to exert so much energy that it wasn't a form that Goku particularly wanted to go. They could possibly go that route with 4 now, just push that to 4 instead of 3, and just say the reason why we didn't see it in Super
Okay.
is because it's just too much energy.
But if it's too much energy, then he went God. God is technically supposed to be that next.
But it's
step
more
after
fluid.
It's the
Right,
perfect blend of the two.
right. That, and they talk about that in Super. They talk about how with God, it's more like that's why they named it like the Super Saiyan God form, because it's like it's more fluid. It's like more perfected than an average or regular Super Saiyan form.
So is Super Saiyan 4 higher than Ultra Instinct?
I think it'll be relative, probably around the same. They'll both have each its own unique properties.
But it's
Or-
more fluid.
Yeah.
It's more fluid to just go to the God and then God, from God to Ultra Instinct. It's easier.
Yeah.
Is less taxing on the Saiyan to go from that to versus the Saiyan going from 3 to 4, going from 3 to God it's just easier to do. Now by the time they get to level 4 Ultra Instinct and level 4 Ultra Ego, that'll be like the perfect power boost plus fluidity.
And like how they've been going into like Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct is kind of like his docile form of his saying this. And like Niall brought up earlier, in the manga recently, Goku has been trying to Whis been trying to tell him you need to be able to harness your Saiyan pride while also being Ultra Instinct. And he started to, I guess, a little bit within the fight with Granola, but it wasn't perfected. So now they have the opportunity of, Goku never thought that he needed to use this form at this present point in time. Super Saiyan 3 just dwindled all the energy that he had in the fight with Beerus to the point where he couldn't even go Super Saiyan 4. And then once he got the Super Saiyan God form, he completely just threw the Super Saiyan 4 form
Yeah.
to the wayside.
Which
type of thing.
happens. That's what happens with Dragon Ball. Once they get, like, we saw Goku during Cell Saga. We saw him just, and same thing with Vegeta, and same thing with Gohan. We just saw them, and same thing with Future Trunks. We just saw them go like, all right, like if it's a credible threat, I'm gonna just go straight to 2.
Mhm.
Like 1 would be why? Like, what's the point of going 1 anymore? Got 2, and I think that's what happened with God versus Super Saiyan 4. It's just like, why even go to that form? Now, to T's point though, right? Because here's another point in T's corner. Goku got his kind of like powered, like not power trip, but he kind of got like his it was like his wheelhouse during the Tournament of Power. And we saw him do different levels in the Tournament of Power. It begs the question of, if he was trying to gauge people's power levels and all of that, why didn't we see Super Saiyan 4 during the Tournament of Power? Is it simply because it exerts too much energy and he knew he had more fights that he would have to go into? You could make that argument, but it also is it's a little weird because they didn't tell us enough. We got to go off of a semi assumption off knowing Dragon Ball lore. That's the best you could do.
They did sprinkle in little tidbits of information, such as like the atmosphere within these demon worlds were vastly different than the ones that normally was on Earth. And we remember that the main way that Goku was able to figure out how to attain Super Saiyan form, and Vegeta, if I'm not mistaken, was playing with the gravity and training under those circumstances. So you have this whole series where they're in a different environment, pushing their bodies to the limit per se. You see how Goku is having issues flying in the air, has to get accustomed, and Vegeta, all of these people and everything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they could use that to be like, hey, we've been trying to tell y'all in the background that going up in this place and fighting these androids and everything was no joke. And they were young, so they were having a power dampener on top of that too. And all of that training basically goes back to them once they're turned back to adults, type of thing. All of those, like solo leveling, all of those missions, they get right back to him right when he go. That's why he was able to achieve the Super Saiyan form as soon as he turned into an adult, because he was already able to. It's crazy though. It's a strange world.
The wild part is too though. It's just like Dragon Ball. They sometimes can explain something away where it's not the most like intelligent thing. They could just put something as simple as Goku ain't feel like it.
Yeah.
Vegeta ain't feel like it.
And niggas are just gonna have to accept it.
And you just gotta deal with it. And that's just how Dragon Ball is. Dragon Ball has done that before. So I like, to your point, T, there is levels where you could say this jumbles the continuity a little bit, and I don't think that you would be wrong. But knowing all of the things that can kind of be applied from the Dragon Ball lore, they can explain it away.
They'll figure out a way. So, nigga, at this point in time, niggas is gonna accept it. If this means we get the final Super Saiyan 5, we get the mixture of everything, and G to get his own, niggas is gonna go to sleep content. Go ahead.
We know that, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama passed away. This is our last piece of media from Akira Toriyama. Do you think like that will have like a, like, how do you feel about that? And then B, like, with everything that comes for that is to come, it's not that I have an issue or that I think that it'd be problematic. I don't believe that Akira Toriyama was the lead for the Tournament of Power and the Super Series. And I enjoyed the Super Series, and I felt like it kept a lot of DBZ elements. But it's not all of the Akira Toriyama elements. So how do you feel knowing that this is possibly the last, well, this is the last time that we will have the Akira Toriyama full scope of Akira Toriyama in a Dragon Ball series or show?
Yeah, it's sad. It's just like Stan Lee not being in Marvel movies.
Yeah. It's wild. Dang, man.
I am sad. I'm also kind of a little optimistic for the future. Not to say that Toyotaru, I believe, is the person that's picking up the reins. Not to say that he's going to be able to fill the shoes completely of Toriyama. But I think what he did in his work with Dragon Ball Superheroes, and how I felt like that's a cult classic, like, I feel like some diehard Dragon Ball fans, they'd be like, I love fucking Heroes. And okay. And I'd never really even paid attention to it or anything like that. So I think there was some people saying that it didn't have enough character development, which that does kind of raise a red flag. But at the same time, you probably didn't have the same budget as the main Dragon Ball series did. It was just a one-off. The animation was subpar. Again, probably money. You was constricted, all of this jazz. I think we are in good hands, hopefully.
Okay.
I feel like you don't got that much, but it is at the same time a fucking lot. You finally have Frieza coming back in a big fucking way, and you need to capitalize upon this shit. And you need to animate 2 other story arcs that y'all niggas haven't even touched upon.
Which ones?
Moro and Granola.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them, nigga.
It's because it's all been manga. Yeah.
Oh.
It's big shoes to fill though, in the sense of like, that already existed when Akira Toriyama was alive, but I feel like it's that much more with him no longer with us. And I think that it will add a little bit of pressure, but to your point, Rob, I don't think that it's like, I think that they could handle it well, because the stuff that I've seen that Akira Toriyama has, including GT, the stuff that I've seen where Akira Toriyama hasn't been at lead hasn't really been terrible.
Did you know GT was fan made?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even fucking know that.
Yep. So they can get, even if they can't do Akira Toriyama, there's enough people that love this series and that's been behind this series they still should be able to make something that's Dragon Ball-esque, and that people, at least there's some type of demographic, will be able to connect to.
Got you. It's not fan made. I apologize too. It was produced by Toei Animation.
Yeah, it was like, okay, when you were saying fan made, I'm thinking you saying like
Like a fan.
this is like
who's
they,
working on it.
which it more or less was.
Probably, yeah, most likely. I got you. So it is fan made, but not fan made, I guess, in the certain kind
In the larger sense, right?
internet users, whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, so that's the new Dragon Ball news. We got. Y'all want to do Monster Hunter real quick? I know me and T been playing that.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
I feel like we could leave Broda. Broda wasn't even that crazy. Monster Hunter review real quick. Monster Hunter Wilds just dropped. It's one of the multitude of sequels that they have dropped for their games as of recently. My first entry into the Monster Hunter world, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It reminds me of a Dragon's Dogma, but on crack type of thing. And I'm pretty sure some of the elements from Dragon's Dogma was taken from Monster Hunter, and now they implemented it within their game again. And then it's just a beautiful game, from the RPG elements, from the open world aspect, from the looting and grinding, all of that jazz. RPG, am I using that correctly, right? Or am I bugging?
Yeah, it's like an RPG.
Okay. But yeah, I thoroughly give it probably damn near like a 9 out of 10 so far. It's got me in the seat. It got me focused. And it's fine. Go ahead, T.
Okay.
How you think?
So to me, this game right here is a 9.5.
This nigga start smiling immediately.
So, me, as many people don't know, like, I am heavy on this game. My first entry into Monster Hunter was Monster Hunter 4U. I think it came out for Wii U or something. One of those. I played one on the 3DS also, but World was the one I really got into, which was that came out on PS4. That one I didn't really thoroughly enjoy it too much, but I did later on when I started playing more with my friends. Because in that one you had to pretty much search for poop, search for the monster, and you got to do this all in 50 minutes of the mission. Then they came out with Rise, that came out on the Switch. It ran like crap, but it was still a good game. It was very simplified, very easy. I enjoyed it. I put about 300-400 hours in there, which is pretty much baby time compared to the amount of time people put in on these games. Now, this game,
300 hours is baby time?
Yeah, it's baby time. Some people got like 1,000 to 5,000 hours in a Monster Hunter game. Now, with this game, it's very noob friendly. I.e., as Rob stated, this is his first entry. He's enjoying it. If he played World, he would have put that game down after the second mission.
I did play it, and I put it down.
See? Because he's a noob. Like I stated, very noob friendly. It's really easy to get into. You don't, like, it literally, you're given a circuit, which is like a running bird, that will take you wherever you need to go to your mission. Everything is laid out in front of you. All you gotta do is fight, carve up some animals, use their materials to build weapons and armor so that you can take on the next big monster. I am a light bow gun user. There's 14 different weapons. Great sword, long sword, dual swords, light bow gun, heavy bow gun, bow, sword and shield. Like you have many different possibilities to fight these monsters. So literally, I started off with light bow gun because I'm a light bow gun user. You can carry 2 weapons with you now in this one, which is a very an amazing feature because it gives you a chance to run with 2 weapons at one time when you're fighting these monsters, giving you a variety of trying different combinations of weapons and armor as you're out there hunting these monsters. Now, I have about 20 hours into this game, and the game just dropped on Friday. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Every fight has been very. It hasn't really been repetitive because you don't really fight the same monster unless you go to the optional missions. But you have to grind out fighting the same monster if there's a certain material that you need, because it's very calculated with its percentage of what drops you get with certain monsters. So it could be a 4% drop for a plate. It could be a 4% drop for like a crystal that's designated to a certain monster. As of lately, I've had to carry a noob whose name is Sage through most of these missions because he can't hack it as a hunter. I had to save him a couple times. You can't say I didn't, and you can't say I'm lying about it. But yeah, overall, I'm enjoying this game. I'm close to end game, which will open it up, and there's many monsters that they are bringing back from previous versions of Monster Hunter that you'll be able to fight in this one. Did I say Sage was a noob? Okay, I forgot that.
All right.
Noob.
Overall fun game. Did you give it your out of 10?
9.5.
9.5. 9.5. Tap into that Monster Hunter Wilds. It's on PC. Is it on Xbox?
Yes, it is.
Xbox and PlayStation
Crossplay.
as well. Crossplay as well.
cross
So if you
progression.
wanna, no cross progression. You heard it here first. All right. We kind of did go a little crazy with the Marvel. Boruto manga didn't really do nothing crazy except
Just give a brief
except-
synopsis on it
except for
so we
one
can move
nigga.
forward.
Boruto, you got the goddamn little niggas fighting the Shinju. Konohamaru is fighting the one Shinju by himself. He over here had his feelings and emotions evolved and didn't let the shawty call him by Konohamaru-chan, because in Japanese that is a term of an endearment when you say chan after somebody's name, like you like them, or it's implied, I guess you say. Right, some
Oni-chan!
romantic- Yeah. Nonetheless, he didn't allow that to happen, so it looks like he's actually about to get eaten. The little niggas was fighting the other Shin, which is Sarada Mitsuki, and 2 other sand ninjas. And one of the sand ninjas had a sword that was able to dissipate the iron sand that the Shinju was using, since he's a clone from, I can't remember the nigga's name at this present point in time. The clone ends up taking the sword from the nigga, so now they can't dissipate the iron sand, and now everybody's in the pickle basically. Boruto is still in the sidelines. Kashikoji is telling his ass to fucking stay his ass put, or else Jorah's gonna pull up and kill everybody, type of thing. So that's where we're at with Boruto. Pretty chapter. It wasn't really anything crazy. I feel like the same with the Invincible episode and the Solo Leveling episode for this week. It was something, but it wasn't it, I guess you say. It was just Solo Leveling, I guess it pulled at the heartstrings a little bit. You had the spoiler alert if you haven't watched any episodes or anything like that. Sun Jin-woo finally saved his mother from the eternal sleep and everything like that. And that was the episode most of the time based on that and about the ant arc. And I don't know how many episodes we got left in this Solo Leveling.
4.
4 episodes?
Either 4 or 3, or I'm tripping. I thought it was 4.
I've been sitting here like these niggas have really been flying through this shit, bro.
Yep.
There are 3 episodes left
Yeah.
in season 2 of Solo Leveling, nigga. Are they really gonna? I can't. I gotta reread because I don't know what
They
the
gonna do it
timeline of events.
because after this training arc, they end up going, but Sung Jin Woo doesn't go to the island raid.
Yep.
He
Mhm.
doesn't go.
While they're there,
Yep.
like within the first 5 minutes, like because when you're reading it, it's really like like
In
they
the
start
thick
the
of it.
mission. Yeah, it only takes like 5 minutes for niggas to get the action going. Once the S rank hunters from Japan get there, all the ants come out and they go in and fight the queen. That's really like 10, 15 minutes. So with 3 episodes, they definitely gonna finish the joint. I don't think they would tease it like Sun Jin Woo show up at the end and roll the credits. If they did,
They might just because of how fast they've been going.
they're like, "Oh, y'all thought y'all was gonna get that shit."
Y'all thought that was
Silly
this
nigga.
season?
What
Y'all
type of
bugging.
kids? We gonna make a movie out of this shit. And y'all niggas gonna pay, and then y'all gonna give us more money to watch the shit in anime format too.
But the thing is, they could definitely make if they wanted to make a movie out of this, they should have dragged that Demon Castle arc a little bit longer.
That's what I assume.
Because I'm like, y'all, if he defeat the Demon King, and then all of a sudden now he got to fight Baru. You got an hour basically left. We really got the what's this shit called? The Jeju Island raid with 3 episodes. That's all we needed. An hour right there. Because you can say that
The
whole
way they moving,
Right?
yeah, that whole last half out, that whole last episode can damn near just be Sung Jin Woo versus Baru for the first 15 minutes, and then you just go to the after effects and niggas be like, yo, he really like that nigga.
that boy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll see. I feel like within the
Hold on,
next,
hold on.
if it's 4 episodes left, yeah.
I just
Niggas-
googled. According to current information, the Jeju Island raid arc will be featured in season 2 of Solo Leveling, with many sources confirming that it will be a major focus of the season.
Yeah. So
They
we do
doing
know.
this shit. Oh, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
but I mean that's why that episode is a little bit more forgiving because you got a chance to slow down the pace. Like Jin Woo been going like since I'll say damn the beginning of the season, fighting the ice elves, then
Going
fighting
crazy. Yeah.
fighting the dungeon masters and all of that. It's like you got one episode as a breather. The next episode is going to be the highlight. Might just be Jin Woo versus that other S rank hunter from Japan. That's going to be
Yeah.
a crazy battle.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be like, all right, cool. Then they get ready to go. And then when they on the island for the raid for the next episode, they get their ass busted. And then the final episode, Jin Woo won't be there. But I could forgive them for that episode. Not saying it was a bad episode, but
They've been doing so much. Yeah.
Invincible on the other hand, no, my nigga.
Invincible was a super slow. It was thoroughly enjoyable as well because I believe that specific character comes back later on down the timeline. But to see the build up to what happened at the end, and to see who we've all been waiting for, we've been talking about this since we heard about this season being produced and how they were going to incorporate this. But it gave me a little bit of goosebumps once we finally seen Angstrom Levy and the Invincible clones right there. I was
But
like,
you know
it's
what's
finally
crazy?
happening.
Somebody pointed this out. Like Angstrom Levy is mad at Mark.
Mhm.
Like he's mad at the real Invincible for the shit that other Invincibles did, to the point where he go recruit the other Invincibles to fight the only good Invincible.
Mhm.
Like nigga, what are you doing?
Because he doesn't think he's good.
But then he went to get other Invincibles that conquered their Earths.
It's
So that
twisted.
episode-
Just like how we just seen in that I feel like they do all of this shit specifically for a reason. We seen how a good guy, a guy who had everything for him, and we seen all of that shit get taken from him right before his eyes, and we seen how that corrupted him to be coming into a villain. And the same instance from when Angstrom Levy became a villain, where he had everything, and I can't remember what happened in this specific universe, or it was just because he got all his people like the Council of Reeds. Mark being there fucked all that shit up after he told him not to do that shit. So he's still blaming Mark. So anything that Mark does, he automatically assumes that shit is bad. And he will use anything to his disposal to take this nigga out type of thing.
Yeah, other marks.
Yeah, so
Like,
that
if you hate that
bypasses
nigga,
this whole moral compass.
You should hate every other mark.
Yeah. It's like kind of like war. Like what you're not capable of doing, somebody else will, and it'll be an advantage to them. Type of thing.
And that episode gonna have to start off crazy because they do go to every major city and just cause destruction. So it's like this shit, and it's like, damn, it's like I think it's 16 of them. It's like now y'all gotta show Mark fighting niggas, bro, because you cannot have this nigga. Well, we know other heroes gonna be fighting this shit too, but it's like, do not let Mark get his ass kicked by none of these people, please.
He will.
Yeah. He gonna, bro.
They've been doing
They've
a great job with Rexplode this season. I'll tip my
Yeah,
cap
they
to
have.
them, though. They've been doing a phenomenal job
and
with
for
him.
good reason.
And for phenomenal reason. For
This
phenomenal
damn near that
reason.
nigga last episode too.
Yeah, damn.
When you think about it,
he been on T-shirt watch for quite some time now.
yo, and the thing is that last episode we didn't see no Cecil. For a nigga that stole from Cecil and doing all that, they like people saying like they probably thinking Cecil let him get away with it just to see what would happen with Invincible, like if these powers would work against Viltrumites. Like we saw it, Invincible wasn't really trying to fight the dude, just trying to talk to him, so he wasn't really throwing no punches. But I guess Cecil was trying to see like what would happen to Invincible, because even Donald was like, I shouldn't be going behind Cecil's back to do this. It's like I'm pretty sure they both was in on that shit.
Probably. It was like, let's see. Cecil is that type of manipulative type of motherfucker.
My big thing is with that episode when Homeboy said, "Look what you made me do," and he pretty much fried his wife and child. Bro, that was your fault. That was your fault. That was not Mark's fault. You the one that wanted to go overdrive with that, and you could. I don't know if him exerting all that energy he couldn't hear, but you can hear them screaming. That was the only gripe I had about the episode, because I'm like, all that and you still blame Mark for. I could understand him blaming his sister and his niece passing away. Understandable. Carnage, destruction. Granted, Mark was fighting his dad. It happened. But your wife and child passing away like that, that's your fault, buddy.
Yeah.
He's overcome with rage instead of looking at in between. I mean, it's the human emotion. They just don't like to take accountability, and then they compartmentalize and build that shit up, and then they don't never want to see themselves as the bad guy in their story. So it's a super compelling ass storyline. But that has been the wrap up for this week, I believe, unless y'all got anything else.
Nope.
No,
Kaiju number 8 dropped a new chapter too, didn't they?
I did not read the latest chapter.
I didn't read it either. All right, so we'll do that next time, y'all. But we appreciate y'all yet again. Check us out on YouTube at Squad Nero Podcast, on Twitch at twitch.tv/Smooth Entertainment without the E. Tap out T Smooth at that same URL. Tap out Croco's Corner for all your podcast needs for all various topics. On all podcast platforms, Jesus Christ, Croco's Corner. We got Chef D in the building as always. And I'm your humble host, Sage. We appreciate y'all and see y'all next week. Dude.
Start these dreams on the road to riches, focus on the ticket, maximize my means. It's like now I'm just trying to float. There's a couple holes up in this boat. Dose my mind just so I can cope. They